The paper we have written together is looking at the issue of foreign direct investments, and we noted that beyond the problem of balancing social and environmental costs and economic benefits, there's the general assumption that trade liberalization and investment policies are a means to poverty elimination and a more equal distribution of resources in society. But this has to be questioned.
Because we're not only going to address the issue of trade and investment policy, but also we're doing this from a gender perspective, as both of us belong to regional networks of women's organizations. So while economic growth, as we have said earlier as well, are increasing and steadily increasing, the gap in social growth in terms of human development, social equality and gender justice, as well as resource protection, is widening. So in Africa, small and medium enterprises, small farmers and producers, craft people, petty traders and street vendors, many of them women, as you know, are displaced by export production, outcompeted by cheap imports, and suffer more and more from the rising prices for inputs and essential services. While concerns about poverty, social equality, environment, gender issues feature quite prominently in the African country strategy papers and development program, in trade negotiations they are marginalized and are considered as no determining factors to liberalization and trade regulations. Social, environment, human development and gender issues are considered to be development issues only, while trade and investment are disconnected from social concerns and they seem to be socially and gender neutral. There is a tendency towards coherence, towards trade objectives, because we see that more and more the EU development programs increasingly are geared towards creating favorable business and trade environments in Africa, among others.
So in practice, the foreign direct investment decisions are founded upon the actual and perceived competitive advantages, which include some of these points, like the availability of low-cost raw materials, natural resources, low-cost labor, and including low real wages. So in this new type of production and investment economy, we discovered that ownership and control over a vast global production chains and access to the world's fastest growing markets determines which countries are rich and which countries are poor. So the EU and other countries that I'm sure we know about are using some of these investment agreements and trade policies to extend their influence, to extend the influence of their leading companies and reduce the ability of developing countries to gain a beneficial foothold in the global economy. And then more than that, we also discovered that the rich countries using bilateral and regional trade agreements try to extract investment agreements and concessions at their own favor at the detriment of the collective bargaining of developing countries. And then seeing that FDI is essential for economic growth and development has led to growing competition even among the developing countries to see that they attract the foreign direct investments, and as a result of that they give concessions that are really not in their favor.
Many African countries have already signed bilateral investment treaties, and we have counted, some members in this assembly might give us some more recent figures, but that in the last years more than 540 bilateral investment treaties have been signed, and most of them between the EU and Africa. What we have seen and observed is that quite a few of those agreements have not managed to fulfill their promises, and quite the contrary. The export revenue generation, thanks to these investments, are offset by the imported contents, as Rosalyne has explained, as well as the repatriation of profits, interests, dividends, royalties, and also management fees to the investing countries.
In terms of national investment laws, there is a challenge of the law, always protecting the investor more than the other national producers, and this presents double standards. For example, the foreign investor can always, go for arbitration does not have to recourse to the national laws or national courts for arbitration.